Have you ever found yourself staring at a blank screen, promising yourself to start that project, but just after you watch one more episode? Or maybe you've said to yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, just a few too many times. If this sounds familiar, it means that procrastination might have won a few battles, but we are here to turn this thing around. Most of the times taking action is hard and not fun enough, and you found yourself drawn to anything else but the action you intended to take. This is what we are going to dive into right now. We are not going to talk about what procrastination is because, well, you already know how it looks like. Instead, we are going to talk about why we procrastinate, explore different types of procrastination, and yes, there are more than just one type, and discover some practical strategies to finally overcome it. Procrastination in its simple form is the art of postponing tasks that we should be doing. It's when your laundry pile becomes a laundry mountain, or when your emails start to look like a population of a small country. But why do we do it? Imagine waking up to a stormy day. Would you rush out for a run? Probably not. Similarly, our minds choose to put off tasks when our emotional climate isn't right. It's less about laziness and more about human nature. Because not all procrastinators procrastinate for the same reason, I want to introduce you to three characters. First up, there's Alan, our perfectionist procrastinator. Picture Alan sitting at his desk, staring at a blank screen, waiting for the perfect opening line for his novel. He's all about perfection, the perfect moment, the perfect mood, but in his quest of perfection, Alan will never be able to finish his book. And even if he does come close at some point, he'll postpone launching the book because of the fear of error and mistake. Then we have Bella, the thrill-seeker procrastinator. She enjoys the adrenaline rush of completing tasks at the last minute. Bella often believes she performs better under pressure, and she intentionally delays tasks to experience this thrill. The final exam is tomorrow, no problem. She pulls off this last-minute marathon of learning, but not without some unnecessary stress. Lastly, meet Charlie, our overwhelmed procrastinator. Charlie looks at his to-do list and feels like he's at the base of Everest. Where does he start? What's his priority? The uncertainty, the sheer volume of tasks, it's paralyzing. So Charlie does what seems easiest at the moment. Nothing. Although Alan, Bella and Charlie have their unique styles, they share a common thread, the habit of postponing tasks. The clock ticks, deadlines approach, but our trio is caught in their own loops of delay. But here's the thing. Understanding these patterns is the first thing towards overcoming them. Maybe you see a bit of Alan, Bella or Charlie in yourself, and that's a good place to start overcoming procrastination. Up next, we are going to dive deeper into the psychological factors behind these behaviors. Beneath the surface of procrastination, there is some invisible strings pulling us towards delaying certain action. Three of the most common puppeteers are fear of failure, impulsivity, and the need of perfection. Fear of failure. This is when you're so afraid of failure and facing criticism that you'd rather not try at all. You opt for the safer route, delay the task, and fall right into the arms of procrastination. But the fact is that the worst case scenario you create in your head will most likely never happen. So the next time you're so afraid to make a mistake, remember, it's just your brain trying to keep you in your comfort zone. Impulsivity. This comes into play when we choose instant gratification over long-term benefits. It's choosing to scroll on social media instead of starting that report due to next week. Need for perfection. Remember when we talked about Alan, the perfectionist procrastinator? This is when the quest for the perfect conditions or results become a roadblock, making starting any task feel like climbing a mountain. By understanding these psychological factors, we get a backstage pass on our minds, and this is an essential step in correcting these behaviors. And hey, if you're finding value in this video, please give it a quick like to help get it out to more people who could benefit from it. And it also gives me a small boost of motivation and self-esteem. Thanks in advance, and let's move on with the video. Okay, knowing why we procrastinate is good, but knowing how to stop doing it, that would be amazing. So let's move on to some practical ways to tackle procrastination. Start by breaking down the task into small and manageable pieces. This approach can make the task seem less intimidating. Picture your goal as a destination and each task as a step on the journey. Take just one small step at a time. Next, we have the 5-minute rule. If you feel exhausted only at the thought that a task could take a couple of hours, do it only for just 5 minutes. Commit to doing the task for just 5 minutes. Often, the hardest part is getting started, and once you've begun, it's easier to continue. Too often I apply this mind trick. I start a task telling myself that if after 5 minutes I want to stop, then I'll stop. And most of the times I forget about it and just finish the task without realizing I had the option to quit after just 5 minutes. Okay, this next one is golden. Done over perfect. The pursuit of perfection often delays progress. So try just getting it done. A first draft is better than no draft, and the rough sketch is better than no sketch. Done allows room for improvement, while perfect just postpones the actions. In my work life, and Also in my personal life, I often don't have the time I want to complete a certain task. And this is constantly pushing me towards this mentality. I have to get things done even though they are not perfect. And when I encounter this kind of situations, I also think about the Pareto principle, which basically states that 80% of the results come from the 20% of the actions we take. Okay, so the goal isn't to eradicate procrastination overnight, because that's impossible. But by understanding how it works and what you can do to overcome it, you will have a much better chance of accomplishing your goals and objectives. So next time you find yourself sliding down the procrastination spiral, remember our friends Alan, Bella and Charlie. Remember the invisible puppeteers, fear of failure, impulsivity and the need of perfection, and then apply these 3 pieces of advice to overcome procrastination. Take small and manageable steps, apply the 5-minute rule and aim for done over perfect. Before you go, I want to remind you to like this video if there was any useful information that may help you, and to subscribe if you want to watch more content like this about procrastination, discipline and overall productivity tips. Also, here's another video you might like. Thanks and see you in the next one.